Hello, viewers. My name is Singh. Welcome to Singh's Geopolitics. Here, we simplify the world's most complex politics and international events. We break down the complex topics into clear, insightful analysis for curious minds. Stay up to date with the expert insights, in depth discussions, and through provoking analysis on global affairs that impact us all. So I'm just getting started here on this new channel. Your support means a lot. If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe. Stay tuned for more insights on global events. So recently, the US imposed a 25% tariffs on Indian goods, with an additional of 25% scheduled for August 27, which will be about 50% total of an import on India from the US. So this move is largely due to India's continued purchase of a Russian crude oil, as it is said by our US Washington government. The impact is particularly severe on key export sectors such as the textiles, chemicals, and gems and jewelry. The exporters are already facing order cancellations and delays, and there are rising concerns about political job losses. This is a major hit to Indian exporters, many of whom rely heavily on the US market for this. As you can see, this was from the Times of India article recently this week. The Indian government is taking steps to caution the impact. Inside of the board-based schemes, they were considering sector-specific credit lines with relaxed Colorado requirements to support the affected exporters. India is also trying to diversify its markets, focusing on the 50 new countries to reduce the dependence on the US. I think this is a move which the Indian government is making. It's a nice move to diversify their market. At the state level, Maharashtra has established a committee to assess the impact of these tariffs and recommend mitigation strategies for this. So in short, while these tariffs are a significant challenge, the government is actively exploring ways to support the exporters and the main resilience in the key sectors and stuff. So the overall economic scope, the impact on the Indian exports. India does about 48.2 in billion export impacted for this. The Indian Council for Research and International Economic Relations said that about 7.38 is significantly affected from this tariffs. Which excludes, a lot of the pharma, IT, and textiles and stuff. So it was nicely played by the U.S. to not hit pharma and IT of the Indian for both of those and the textiles. Um, Impact on the auto part sector, I think about 7 billion trade volume that we have with India. So they're seeing about 15 to 20% of tariffs that are may cut for exports and stuff, which isn't a significant amount, I think, for the Indian side here. The other tariffs that were hit by the US to the Indian industry was the shrimp industry. So recently, President Trump announced again the 25% tariff on the Indian shrimp export. And with, like I said earlier, the 25% increase coming at the end of August, which means very soon the Indian shrimp will face a total of about 50% tariffs in the US market. This is a big deal, very big deal, because the shrimp makes up about 40% of India's total seafood exports, worth around $7.4 billion last year in 2024. The two states, the Andhra Pradesh and Odisha in India, are especially vulnerable since hundreds of thousands of small farmers they're dependent directly on the shrimp farming for these livelihoods. So we're already seeing the effects, in India. So the exporters have slashed the prices they pay to farmers by almost 20%. That wipes out most of their profit. The many farmers are suddenly struggling to event cover costs like feed, land rental, and loan payments and stuff. So as a result, many farmers are rethinking their future. Some are considering switching to other forms of aquaculture, like fish farming, or even leaving the sector for start local businesses and stuff. I mean, I would if that was hitting me here. Let me know your thoughts, comments below about it. Meanwhile, other countries are stepping in to fill the gaps. For example, Ecuador is facing much lower tariffs from the United States, around 15%, which makes its shrimp far more competitive in the US market from the Indian. On the policy side, India's government has promised tax cuts and support to its farmers, but trade talks with the US have broken down, so there's no quick fix in this that we are seeing so far. So, what this shows us is how global trade politics policies can ripple down to the local level. A political move in Washington can quickly disturb entire communities in coastal India and shift global markets shares in seafood. Even with recent US tariffs hikes and tensions over India's purchases on Russian oil, India still remains fully committed to finalizing its bilateral trade agreement with the United States. So there's some good still things happening. The target completion is still between September and October of 2025, as announced by the Prime Minister Modi and the US President Trump. Also, although the next round of talks has been delayed, discussions continue at multiple levels, including negotiation teams, ministerial meetings, diplomatic exchanges, industry consultations. So basically, this shows India's determination to keep the trade dialogue active despite of this external pressure. I think India really needs this BTA agreement. So this will be something that we will see in the coming future, how this goes. And for border trade initiative and global engagement, advancing trade relations beyond the US. So I think India is also pursuing other global trade opportunities to diversify its partnership, which I think is a good move by India to do so. For example, the Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement with the United Kingdom has been signed and it's awaiting UK parliamentary procedures. The Trade and Economic Partnership Agreement with the EFTA countries is set to take effect on October 1st. The negotiations with the European Union are being fast tracked, aiming for completion by December 2025. So, that's another thing that I have seen before. India was pursuing the European Union quarterly on these economic partnership agreements, having meetings and stuff, which was quarterly. And now they have actually fast tracked that to monthly meetings. So they are seeing the pressure of the U.S. tariffs, I think, and they want to diversify themselves, so they're doing the fast tracking, which I think is a good move by the Indian side here. And of course, the discussions with Oman are also concluding soon. So additionally, India engaging with ASEAN nations recently to review the trade in goods agreement, addressing tariffs and non-tariff issues like SPS measures, technical barriers, and regulatory compliance. So I think overall, India is actively working to strengthen its global trade positions, balancing its challenges from the US with proactive partnerships and elsewhere. So the diplomatic fallout between the two countries, I think it's strained. India and U.S. ties are getting strained here. Bilateral trade agreements are being delayed, which is not good for both countries, I think. India is pursuing European Union and seeing trade alternatives and stuff. So the strategic and the long-term outcome of this, I think the export diversification is crucial for India. Trade resilience strategies and realignment of global partnerships that India is doing because of all of this. So, conclusion and what are the next steps? I think the tariffs imports is a key export sector, and it's impacting India exploring alternative partners with the other countries, which I think will help them a lot, and negotiations essential for stability with the United States and stuff. So at the end, I would like to hear your comments on all of these. Let me know who is benefiting from this. Is it the U.S. or is it India? How will both countries' relations will be in future? Will U.S. be able to shift India's dependence from Russia while doing tariffs and sanctions on them from the United States side? Is it going to help the United States or is it going to backfire on us? I would like to learn from your comments, so let me know. And thank you for listening, and stay tuned for more geopolitics videos. Thank you.